Hi, I'm Mark Suter.
I'm Paige Schuler.
I'm Sophie Hetherington.
And I'm Emily Carter.
And we worked with Apqs, American Professional Quilting Systems, for our Iowa State Industrial Engineering Capstone Project.
Apqs is a small Midwestern company that manufactures 6 types of long-arm quilting machines. Located in Carroll, Iowa, they are currently undergoing design changes to their current model. They will now be performing the entirety of their assembly process in-house to reduce outsourcing costs. The main focus of our project was to determine how the company will be adding these mechanical assembly procedures into their routine production schedule.
At the beginning of this project, we worked with Apqs to define clear and obtainable objectives. First, we wanted to determine the optimal assembly sequence for the new model in order to help mitigate the need for additional labor. Additionally, we wanted to clearly research and define tooling and fixture requirements to help optimize the assembly process flow. Lastly, supplementary materials for transition and training purposes were to be created.
In order to fully understand the intricacies of the new model, our group first needed to learn what goes into making a quilting machine and the new process for assembling the new model. We first met with operators at Apqs to understand how quilting machines work, their assembly processes and habits, as well as the different parts and components that go into it. We then met with Nate Moore, the industrial designer for Apqs, to run through a full mechanical assembly of the new process. From our observations, we were able to determine how long it takes to assemble the new model currently, as well as excess travel time consumed by the operators during their workdays. One of the team's main objectives was to create fixtures and tooling to help reduce the assembly time by 10%. To create the fixtures, the team and Nate Moore created a list of all the areas that were potential improvements for fixturing. From that list, fixtures were drafted on SolidWorks and prototyped to test them and see their effectiveness on reducing the assembly sequence time. From our fixture and tooling implementations, the team was able to reduce the assembly sequence by 14% and stay within the budget stated at the beginning of the project.
One of the primary goals of this project was to determine the sequence that each assembly should be performed in order to provide a standardized assembly procedure and ultimately optimize the assembly process. Through combining both mechanical and electrical assembly process maps, the team was able to create an optimal assembly sequence for the Millie, Lenny, and Lucy models.
One of the most important deliverables our group wanted to provide was documentation of the new assembly process. These would be presented in the form of written work instruction along with labeled pictures of the materials used. The main goal of this instruction was to provide a documented standard process as well as serve as supplemental material in the training as this new design was implemented. To test the created work instruction, our group had Nate repeat the same assembly process while using the document to provide feedback. Once the instructions were complete, photos were added and the documentation was handed over to Apqs.
Another one of our group's objectives was to design a new facility layout for Apqs that promoted efficiency and didn't make any drastic floor plan changes. After creating the process map and understanding general workflow, the group was able to create 3 unique facility layouts that were presented to Apqs to receive their feedback on. Ultimately, a finalized facility layout was created and presented to Apqs for implementation. Upon implementation of the various components, this project will ultimately save Apqs approximately $4,500 annually in labor savings. Additionally, due to time savings, Apqs will now have the capacity to produce an additional 63 units per year, which could lead to a potential revenue increase of $908,000. Despite bringing some small culture changes into Apqs, the new model and assembly techniques provided by the group will really help to bring new life and efficiencies into the production system that will be well received by managers and operators alike.